Hey guys, how are we doing? Bedford, WITO Radio, 12:30 a.m. The music you know, the station you love. Yes, my hair's kind of whopper jawed. I've been playing with the dogs. I want to tell you, I want to talk about light duty at Ironton Police Department. So I don't really need to read anything because it's right here. Light duty, okay. So I'm gonna bring up a particular officer. I haven't said anything about him. I've gotten so many people say, "Oh, talk about Chris Bowman." Well, Chris Bowman never done anything to me, but I know what he has done to other people. But it's not a personal thing about him, and I'm not gonna try to appease everybody by bashing him. But I want to talk the difference, how they treated me. Differential treatment. That's what it's called in the workplace. Differential treatment. So he hurt his shoulder, and he was off for like 19 months at home on light duty, and he's got a big 20x40 heated pool behind his house, right? So he was off for a long time. They paid overtime for it. They did all that for 19 months, okay? So not soon after that, I was on bike patrol, and I was coming down 6th Street. And, when you're on bike patrol, your feet are strapped in, okay? And you go up to 30 mile an hour on the bikes, which I did. It was good exercise. Best shape of my life in 1998. But I wrecked on the bike. So I went immediately to my doctor over here in Ironton, and he took me off of work until I could have a test run. And so I took the excuse over there. I was on crutches. I took the excuse over there, and I asked to talk to Chief Carey, and I went in his office, okay? And before I finish that I went in his office, let's make one thing clear, okay? You just heard me say that Chris Bowman, who was off for 19 months, had a 20x40 heated pool in his yard, okay? Now, what I'm going to say is, when Cochran's put my pool in, you can ask the owner, Carrie came on my property in uniform. I was off duty, and went up there and climbed on the hill of the dirt and started talking to the owner of Cochran Pools. What were they talking? Well, I know Cochran Pools wouldn't say anything, but why was he on my property and asking about stuff on my land? How did he come on my property? He was a cop. I was a cop. But I just don't understand that. But I didn't say anything, right? He's my supervisor. He's my boss. He's a chief, right? What do you do? What do you do? Who you complain to? The mayor? What are they going to do? City council? They ain't going to do anything. They just want to keep that title and that job. So let me get back to it, Sally, okay? So anyway, when I hurt my knee and I went in on crutches, I gave the excuse to Chief Carey, and I said, hey, I got to go. And he goes, oh, just sit back down a minute. Just sit back down a minute. I want to call your doctor. I said, okay. So he called my doctor. This is all documented. My doctor wrote a statement. He called my doctor and he said, is there any reason why Beth can't sit at the station here and work, do reports? My doctor said, well, as long as she's got her knee propped up the whole time and with ice on it, we haven't determined the damage yet, which was 2 more surgeries after that. But anyway, so here we go, all right? There was never any light duty for any police officer, okay? If you were hurt, right? But you can check. If they haven't shredded all that crap, you can check and see why was Chris Bowman, Captain Bowman, who never did anything to me personally, but he was part of the gang, the Boys in Blue. And, I don't fear him. I've heard so many people tell me how he was in high school and compared to how he is now or how he was. That's none of my business. But what I'm saying is, Carrie made sure I had to sit at the station. And back then, you could come in the station, right? You could come in the station, you could file a report. Now it's locked. You can't do that. You got to call the sheriff's office to ask for an IPD officer to meet you there. Why is that? Why don't we have a clerk? Becky's the clerk there. Why can't she dispatch for IPD? Why do we have to go through the sheriff's department? Why is that? Oh, let me think about it. I think I smell money. Okay, anyway, I'm skipping around now. Stay with me because this is a challenge. All right, here's the deal. He came up with light duty for me because he didn't want me floating in my pool. But he didn't care about Chris Bowman floating in his pool, did he? So that's all court documented. So I'm going to find out if there's been light duty for anybody else since I've been gone. And I'll bring that to you. I do have resources that have since retired. I've had a person even tell their family member something before they passed. And they were kind enough to tell me. And I found peace with that. What I'm saying is differential treatment in the workplace. It's so common. It's so common. And so, but unless you say anything about it, both men and women, if you speak out about it, who wants to go to work and dread it? You know, when I was a cop, I was like, oh my God, you know, just get up at 4:30 and work out a little bit, get ready and clean. I was pressed and creased and all that. And they couldn't stand that because they didn't have any pride in their job. I did. And what's the thing about it? Because I was the most productive officer in that department when I was there. And city council, what happened in city council? When I was a cop, you guys had to be checked. You sent us reports, and Carrie said, everybody's got to produce a production report, and you got to write down what time you pulled somebody over, the ticket number, and what you pulled them over for. City council wants to know what you guys are doing down here. Court documented. My attorney said, isn't it true that Beth was the most productive officer there? And Carrie said, yes. It's documented, okay? So if you fire your most productive officer, what's that say? And if you fire her for helping somebody poor out on a ticket, what's that say to people that see police officers going to prison for dealing fentanyl, why in uniform, two of them living together, and only one of them get charged? So stay with me here, okay? Because, it's just a matter of time how much I got to say here. I also want to tell you again, there's so many skeletons in everybody's closets now. If you can find one in mine that I ain't talked about, I would adore that. If you can find one in mine, I can talk about anything in my past. I'm not ashamed of anything, any wrong decision I made or any right decision I made. I don't regret anything. What I'm saying is, it's so much more freeing of just to take accountability for what you did, because after you retire from all the big hypty-doopty-doopty-doop and sir, and title, after you retire and you're sitting in your recliner and you're watching the Reds play and you're like, man, I wasn't a very good person. I don't feel that at all, because I have the comfort in knowing that I was a good person to everybody I arrested. So I just want everybody to realize it's nothing personal, but when you, and of course I expected something different by being the first female. Yes, was I prepared for the games and the assaults and the threats? No, I was not prepared for that. But people ask me, about Pam, and like I said, me and Pam had a good time working together. She's a hoot, and what she did after I was gone, that's in the past. I have no issue with her at all. It's just that it's differential treatment, and especially if you're gay or you're different, you have a different political view on things, or you have a different outlook or perspective on things. Why can't we talk as human beings? Why can't we talk as friends and say, well, this is what I think, and then accept that instead of all the fussing back and forth? I think that would be a very good idea if we all just stepped back and took a breath. Now, that's what my therapist always says. Just, Beth, if you get irritated about something, just step back and take a breath and think how important is it really to you right there at that moment. So get a therapist, guys. You can't trust friends sometimes. You get a therapist. You can tell them whatever you want to a certain limit, and they can't repeat it. Please, get you a therapist somewhere, wherever you're at. But I just want to clear some things up about the police department and the whole light duty process. And I will find out if anybody's been on light duty since then. And, it's a shame that before light duty, it's a shame that officers just had different thoughts about things. I cut my hand one morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was opening a can of something, and I cut my my thumb right here, pretty big. And so I knew I had to be at work at 6. I get up at 15 after 5. It takes a woman a long time to put all that crap on. You guys don't realize that. So anyway, oh my gosh. I mean, it's just, I cut my hand, and so, my grandpa taught me, well, I just duct tape it closed. And then I wore my fingerless glove, or, the gloves that would come right here to your finger, or to your knuckles, and then I duct taped that cut and went to work because I didn't want to miss work, all right? So anytime everybody says, oh, she always missed work, remember this story. So I duct taped it shut. I went to work. And on my lunch break, I went out here to where next to Taco Bell is. I think it was something different at the time. And I took my lunch break to get that stitched up. And got in trouble for it. Now, if I was eating a cheeseburger at McDonald's, would I have gotten in trouble for it? Why would I get in trouble for going out there on my lunch break and getting my hand stitched up? I could have cut off work. I could have went in and showed him my hand and said, I can't work today. It's my gun hand. I can't work today. But instead of that, I got wrote up for taking time to get stitches, and I still worked. So let's all get our ducks in a row before we start saying things, okay? Because all of mine are in the same pond, and I am the paragon of it, okay? Oh my God, people, just don't get your panties in a wad, like I like to say, okay? This is Beth, there's God bless. WITO Radio, the music you know, the station you love. This is airing it out. And I'm tired of hearing my own name, so I'm not going to say it again, okay? God bless. Ohio. WITO.